that one line from the trailers about how Ezekiel Sims was in the Amazon with her mom when she was researching spiders right before she died? It wasn't even in the movie. What a ripoff. Hello, Internet. Well, I guess that's one way to open a video. I acknowledge that it has been a while since I posted stuff. Quite honestly, I have been rather busy, and there hasn't been a whole lot I've been super interested in covering. Like, I've seen like 4 movies this year, and a couple TV shows. I don't know, but I thought that I just had to talk about Madam Web, the cultural event of the century for sure. Nearly equivalent to the cultural relevance of Morbius when that came out a couple years ago. And we'll talk about that in a second, but firstly, this is, it turns out, my 200th video, which my girlfriend reminded me of, which, like, thank you for that, but I don't know. Would I have remembered? That's a question. I don't know. But in any case, it is my 200th video, and I can think of no better film to be talking about than Madam Web. Just, oh, it's a movie. Oh, it for sure is a movie. It's bad, yes. Of course it's bad. I've seen the highest review of this film that I saw, at the very least on Letterbox, and I didn't look at all of them, but I looked at some of them. The highest review that I saw that wasn't one that was done purely out of irony was like a 5 out of 10. So, like, this movie is not doing that great because it's a piece of garbage. It's terrible. Like, the amount of general incompetence in the just the general every aspect of this movie has something about it that is just absolutely nonsensical and had no reason to be the way it was. The dialogue might actually be some of the worst in any superhero movie I've seen in a while. And I watch a lot of superhero movies, and the dialogue is not, it's sometimes corny. It's really always, no, it's usually corny. This is on the level where it just doesn't sound like how humans talk. Words are just phrased very awkwardly. Nothing really flows right. It doesn't ever feel like anyone's having a real conversation. And it like, there's a point where a guy says, like, I took a lot of time to steal these tools for you. Use them better. And, like, that just, it doesn't sound wrong, but it also kind of does, and it flows very awkwardly. And another thing that really doesn't help with that is the acting, which, oh boy, it's bad. It's pretty bad. Like, it's not like any of these people were, like, all that poorly cast. I think they were just, like, either the dialogue or the direction or something. I think a lot of it just kind of boils down to the performances just not being convincing at all. Like, and Adam Scott is pretty good. Like, I enjoy him most of the time. Really, I enjoy him all the time. He's a really funny dude, but he doesn't really, like, he brings his usual Adam Scott charm, and I enjoy that. And, like, he gives a good performance in this movie, and I enjoyed his character. But, like, he's not in the movie that much, and he was probably my favorite part of this movie, because, like, he was the only one where I was, like, where what he was saying was actually convincing. The three girls do get they have pretty good chemistry, and they're okay. Um, their performances are good. Like they give pretty decent performances, and like I don't know, like I didn't mind them really. They were fine, but Dakota Johnson, who played Madam Web, Madam Web, she was not good. I haven't seen Dakota Johnson in anything else. I don't think. She was not good in this. She was just so blank and dull. Like it was like she was barely trying, barely giving it like even like a minimal amount of effort, and like it was like I think she was, but like not nearly as much as she should have to make this into a like reasonably compelling character. The writing would have butchered that anyway, but she at least could have tried. And like I I don't know what the issue was, but she was really bad. She did not convince me of anything that was like going on. I didn't buy into any of the emotions, any of the anything. Like there's I couldn't really tell you that many character traits about Madam Web, because like what like who like we know that she can see the future and wants to find stuff out, and she's also socially awkward, but like that's it. And even that's done in like a really weird, strange way that doesn't feel like how a human being would react to anything. This is a blockbuster. This is a movie that cost a lot of money. So like it's such a lousy performance, and she's the lead. Like she should be like carrying this thing pretty much, and she's just not at all, and I don't get it. Another big problem was the villain. He sucks. He was terrible. Like I don't know what was going, like from the first scene he showed up, it was like, what is this guy, like why is he saying these things in this way? And I'd seen reviews that said similar things, and like the first line that he said, I was like, okay, that's a little bit weird. Felt like he was putting on a voice that just made him sound stupid, and like it just sounded dumb. Nothing about the character made any sense. Like he seemed to be incredibly rich, and yet nobody knew who he was. He seemed to be like he just walks through a train, and like I guess he's rich and nobody recognizes him. So like I guess he's secretly rich, but also he says like I came from nothing. So like what's the deal? Nothing about him makes really any sense, and he was another one. Like he just felt like totally blank faced the entire time. There were a couple times where he was like yelling, where he was like, but other than that, diddly squat in terms of reactions to anything. And another weird thing with him, I noticed this countless times throughout this movie. The ADR was bad. It was atrocious. There were so many times where I noticed him on screen and he very, very obviously was not saying anything. Like he would just like walk across the screen, and it'd be kind of like a close-up, and he was moving kind of fast, so you couldn't really tell what was going on, but his mouth very clearly was not moving at all. And it makes sense that it would happen when he's wearing the suit, but like even that was really bad and did not sound natural with like the way the audio was done or something. And I don't know why this was, because this is a blockbuster, and I don't know the exact budget, but I assume it was over $100 million. So like, guys, Sony, get your crap together. Like, what is going on? And like, it was like, none of these Sony movies have been like great or anything, but like this one, there's just so many ridiculous, incompetent, inexcusable things that go on, and it's super weird. And I don't know. And there's also the fact that this movie does so many really, really dumb references to, like, Spider-Man lore. Like, I mean, the fact that Adam Scott is in here and he plays Ben Parker, like, that... Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird, but, like, I don't really have much of a problem with it. But then there's this scene where they're, like, at his sister's baby shower, and it's like, wait a minute. Ben Parker's sister is having a baby. Who could that be? And then they do this name guessing game thing, and it's really weird because, like, it's like the mother is about to say the name and then it cuts to something else, and it's like it's like they leave a second for people to be like, oh, she's gonna say Peter. Oh my God, it's Peter Parker, like Spider-Man. Oh, it's dumb. It's ridiculous. And then there's, like, you know, they show the baby at the end of the film, and again, I'm sorry if you were concerned about the movie Madam Web being spoiled for you. I mean, if you actually are, I do apologize, but, like, just don't watch the movie. I don't know. It's so baby Peter Parker shows up at the end, but of course they don't say what his name is because, like, you gotta infer these things. There was this really funny moment in early on in the film where Ben was talking to Madam Web, and he was like, I started seeing someone, and she was like, oh, what's her name? And Ben just, like, there's a good, like, 5 to 10 second silence where they just kind of look at each other and smile, and I'm serious, it felt like an applause break. Like they wanted people to applaud at the fact that they referenced that maybe Ben Parker had started dating future Aunt May. Like, and they didn't say a name, they didn't say anything, they just kind of smiled at each other knowingly. He was like, yeah, I'm seeing someone. Good for you, dude. What's going on? Honestly, I would have loved to see instead of this, I would have loved to see a movie where Adam's, like, a rom-com between Uncle Ben and Aunt May with, like, Adam Scott and someone else. Like, how freaking cute would that have been? Like, and then, you know, maybe Peter Parker is born, and, like maybe they talk about it, like, his sister is probably gonna play kind of a big role in that particular story, but, like, I mean, maybe it would have been a waste of time, but, like, it would have been so darn cute, and man. Now I'm bummed, because, like, now I feel like Adam Scott isn't going to return to the Spider-Man franchise, because he was in this piece of garbage, but, like, he would be a really good, like, older Peter Parker. Or, like, you know, he comes back in 10 years to play Ben Parker. And, quite honestly, he's a pretty good choice to play Uncle Ben in, like, the MCU timeline. Like, because, I mean, I assumed that there was an Uncle Ben in the MCU timeline at some point, but, like, and I guess they did the origin story different in No Way Home, but, like, but at the same time, like, as cool as that would have been to see, like, Adam Scott as MCU Uncle Ben, no, because then it would have had to connect to this terrible movie. And we don't want that. Like, I know that, like, they teased a sequel. Of course they teased a sequel, because, like, they didn't really show the girls getting their powers, but they implied that's going to happen at some point in the future. We're gonna make that movie eventually. No, please don't. This movie made, I think, like, $25 million its opening weekend. Pshaw, Sony. Pshaw. No way is that gonna happen. Yes, the whole Sony just making things and referencing Spider-Man is getting old. And Morbius was bad, but at least it didn't go out of its way to tease, like, oh, what could we make in the future? Except for the post-credit scenes, which sucked ass, but, like, whatever. It was still bad. And I don't know. Honestly, I think this is worse than Morbius, because Morbius was bad. It had like 2 or 3 good things about it. Most of them had to do with Jared Leto and Matt Smith, and they weren't great, but there was like one scene where they talked and it felt like actual human beings were saying words to each other and not just saying dialogue from a terrible script. And then, of course, there's a scene where Matt Smith does push-ups, and that's really funny, but, you know. Morbius is bad, but it's not, and it is incompetent, but not nearly on the level of Madam Web. Funny story, when I went, I went with a couple of my friends to go see this, and when there was a guy that went before me to, like, pay for his ticket, and when he said, "I'll take a ticket for Madam Web," we just kind of started howling with laughter, because, like, just the notion that we were actually taking time out of our days to go see this movie. Oh, what a waste of time. But honestly, I am kind of glad that we saw it, but also, like, anyway, I will probably put a link to my Letterbox review of Madam Web, and maybe my Letterbox account. Check that out. There's some interesting stuff over there. I've included this film in a couple of lists, and I gave it a 2 out of 10, and I stand by that. If Adam Scott wasn't in the movie, and if the girls weren't, like, kind of a little bit enjoyable sometimes, and if they didn't have good chemistry, it would absolutely be a 1 out of 10. But, like, there are, like, those very small, minorly good qualities about this movie that are only there because the actors are good. So, thank you, Sony, for delivering this piece of crap. Oh gee, I can't wait to see what's in store next. Because if you think this is a bad idea, like, they got, I mean, there's Craven, which I don't know if it'll be good. It'll probably be better. There's like El Muerto. Have you ever heard of El Muerto? Yeah, I haven't either. The concept of that film that I really hope doesn't get made. It was like Sony was looking for a random Spider-Man villain for Bad Bunny to play, and that's just such a dumb way to come up with an idea for a movie. I don't know. The Sonyverse. It just stop. Like, y'all are not making any money. Why they didn't learn any lessons after Morbius is boggling to me, but, like, mind-boggling, I guess. I don't know. In any case, Madam Web sucks. Don't watch it, but in any case, thank you for watching, and keep calm and watch on. Don't watch Madam Web.